On June 7, 2021, at 10:07 p.m., the call came in. A man's voice, strained, breathless, trembling, told a 911 operator that his wife and son had been shot. Badly. He said he had just found them. He said he didn't know why anyone would do this. He said he was scared. But what the world didn't know yet was that this wasn't the beginning of the story. It was the moment the lie began to unravel. For nearly 100 years, the Murdaugh name meant power in South Carolina's Lowcountry. Judges knew it. Police respected it. People feared it. 3 generations of Murdaugh men had served as prosecutors, shaping the justice system from the inside. When something went wrong, the Murdaughs didn't panic. They fixed it. Alex Murdaugh grew up learning that lesson early. Tall, red-haired, and smooth-talking, Alex became exactly what he was raised to be: a successful lawyer, a family man, and a quiet authority in his community. He won massive settlements, lived on sprawling properties, and carried himself with the confidence of someone who had never truly been told no. To the outside world, his life looked solid, untouchable even. But beneath the image was pressure, and it was building fast. In February 2019, Alex's youngest son, Paul, stepped onto a boat drunk. By the end of the night, the boat crashed into a bridge piling. 6 people were thrown into the dark water. One of them, 19-year-old Mallory Beach, never came back alive. Witnesses said Paul was driving, evidence supported it. Yet hours passed, then days, and Paul was still free. No arrest that night, no immediate consequences. People noticed. Whispers spread through the Lowcountry that the Murdaugh machine was working again. Whether that was true or not didn't matter anymore. The damage was done. The Beach family filed a lawsuit. The media circled, and suddenly the Murdaugh name wasn't shielding Alex. It was spotlighting him. Behind closed doors, his life began to collapse. Millions of dollars were missing from his law firm. Client settlements had vanished. His opioid addiction spiraled out of control. Lawsuits piled up, and Paul was facing a criminal trial that threatened to drag everything into the open. For a man like Alex Murdaugh, exposure was worse than punishment. Psychologically, his identity was built on control, on being the one who handled problems, not the one who caused them. But now every path forward led to humiliation, prison, or both. Then came June 7th, 2021. Maggie Murdaugh didn't want to be at the family's Moselle hunting estate that night. She went reluctantly. Paul was there too, checking on the dogs near the kennels. The property was quiet. Cicadas hummed in the dark. At 8:44 p.m., Paul recorded a short video on his phone. It showed a dog with an injured tail. His voice could be heard. Maggie's voice too. And faintly, almost unnoticed, another voice. Alex's. Less than 5 minutes later, Maggie and Paul were dead, shot multiple times, different weapons, no struggle, no sign of forced entry, no robbery. When Alex called 911 at 10:07 p.m., he said he found his wife and son dead. He said he had been visiting his mother and he wasn't there. Investigators listened, and they watched. Alex cried. He suggested suspects. He volunteered explanations. He tried to steer the narrative. These weren't the reactions of a confused man. They were the reactions of someone desperate to stay ahead of the truth. Phone data told a different story. His movements didn't match his timeline. His steps were recorded when he claimed to be asleep. Calls appeared and disappeared where they shouldn't have. The cracks were small, but they were everywhere. Then police found Paul's phone, and with it, the video. The moment investigators heard Alex's voice at the kennels, minutes before the murders, the case changed forever. The dead had spoken, and they contradicted the man who claimed to love them. Alex had lied, not just once, not accidentally, but deliberately. Psychologically, this was the collapse point, because once the lie was exposed, everything else had to be questioned. Why kill Paul? Why kill Maggie? The answer wasn't rage, it wasn't jealousy, it was relief. Paul's death ended the criminal case. Maggie's death complicated the financial investigations. The sympathy bought time. The chaos blurred accountability. To Alex, this wasn't murder. It was a reset. But lies demand maintenance, and Alex was losing control fast. Months later, he claimed he was shot on the side of the road. A hit attempt, he said, but it was staged. He had arranged it himself. Another lie, another attempt to escape the consequences closing in around him. And when that story fell apart, the final illusions shattered. The man who had spent his life manipulating the justice system now sat inside it, waiting, unprotected. The courtroom was silent when Alex Murdaugh took his seat. For the first time in his life, the room didn't bend around him. No favors, no deference, no quiet understanding between powerful men. Just a defendant, surrounded by cameras, watched by a nation that wanted answers. The prosecution didn't paint Alex as a monster. They painted him as a man who believed he was different. They didn't focus on blood or brutality. They focused on behavior, on patterns, on lies that stacked so high they collapsed under their own weight. They showed how Alex stole from vulnerable clients, how he manipulated colleagues, how he lied effortlessly when cornered, and how those lies escalated as the pressure increased. Psychologically, it was simple. Alex Murdaugh did not believe consequences applied to him. When Alex took the stand, the transformation was immediate. His voice shook. He cried. He admitted to theft, addiction, manipulation, and deception. He confessed to staging his own shooting. He acknowledged lying again and again. But when it came to murder, he drew the line. Not because he suddenly found honesty, but because admitting the truth would destroy the last fragment of control he had left. Experts watching noted something chilling. Alex wasn't expressing remorse. He was performing distress. His emotions were real, but they were centered on himself. The kennel video played in court, again and again. Each time the lie became louder. Alex tried to explain it away. Panic, he said. Addiction, fear. But the jury saw what psychologists see clearly. Innocent people don't lie themselves into corners. Guilty minds do. The prosecution asked one final question that echoed through the courtroom. If you didn't kill them, why did you lie? There was no answer that made sense, because the truth was no longer avoidable. The jury didn't need a confession. They didn't need the murder weapons. They needed coherence, and Alex Murdaugh's story had none. When the verdict came back, guilty on all counts, Alex didn't scream. He didn't protest. He collapsed inward, not from surprise, from surrender. The dynasty that ruled the Lowcountry for generations ended not with a bang, but with exposure. And the psychological lesson of the case became clear. Alex Murdaugh didn't kill because he hated his family. He killed because he believed he could, because he believed the rules were for other people. And when that belief met reality, everything fell apart. Stories like this aren't just about crime. They're about power, pressure, and the quiet choices people make when they believe they're untouchable. The Alex Murdaugh case reminds us that status can hide the truth, but it can't erase it. Lies may delay consequences, but they always compound them. And sooner or later, reality demands its reckoning. If there's one lesson here, it's this. No name, no influence, no position places anyone above accountability. If you found value in this psychological breakdown of true crime, if it made you think, question, or see the case differently, support the channel by liking this video. It helps more than you know. Share it with someone who appreciates deep, real storytelling. And subscribe to Psychology of True Crime for more cases where we don't just ask what happened, but why. Thank you for watching. The next story is coming soon.